Welcome everybody to a brand new video. I am very happy at the moment because the stock market is finally crashing. At this current point in time, it is pretty evident that we are going to be entering a recession. Stock prices are coming down, the overall economy is crashing, and you might be thinking to yourself, why are you happy about this? Why are you looking forward to prices coming down? Aren't you an investor? Well, I'm going to be talking a lot about that in this video. So yes, the stock market is crashing a lot. And the reason I am happy about this is because I've been waiting for this for a while. I personally believe that the markets were extremely overvalued for quite a while now. So what I decided to do is I actually decided to sell all of my investments, take home a lot of profit because I did end up making quite a bit of money off of my previous investments. I'm talking a minimum of 15% return and a maximum of a 30% return for one of the companies I invested in. Which, by the way, I just want to preface this video by saying that I am by no means a financial expert. I am just some random guy on the internet. I'm just a random YouTuber talking about my experiences, and don't take this video as advice for what you should be doing. Just because I tell you to go out and do something doesn't mean that you should go out and do it. And if you end up investing your own money based off of what I say, just know that any losses that you take are completely on you. I do not take responsibility for any of that because I didn't force you to invest. Any decision you decide to make based off of this video or anybody else's video, or just based off of your own decision, is your decision at the end of the day. I do not take responsibility for anything. I'm not a financial expert. I'm just some random guy on the internet. But anyway, as I said, in my opinion, I thought the markets were overvalued, so I decided to sell all of my companies, especially the ones that I wasn't exactly happy with. I couldn't exactly see myself, being around with them for the foreseeable future. I decided to get rid of those, and I decided to just take in my profits. And what I've been waiting for this entire time is a recession. I've been waiting for stocks to go down in price because personally, I consider myself a value investor. I look at very, very strong companies and I look to invest in those companies when they are undervalued. Specifically, companies that pay dividends as well. I'm looking to get a really good value for my money. When I buy a company, I'm hoping that they are going to pay a pretty nice dividend, along with being a wonderful company, a company that is going to be very, very successful in the future. A company that has proven over the long term that they can handle recessions, that they are very, very good at doing their business. So the reason I'm extremely happy is because we're finally here. We're finally to the point where the market is crashing heavily. And you might be thinking, why are the markets crashing? Well, the main reason for that is because of COVID-19, because of the coronavirus. A lot of people are very, very scared that because of the coronavirus, the economy is going to slow down, which it is. A lot of places are shutting doors and a lot of places are firing a lot of people and trying to hold on to as much money as possible. A lot of companies are doing that at the moment in lieu of the coronavirus. And listen, I'm not trying to say that the coronavirus is a good thing. Just because I am going to be investing my money in the stock market and hopefully coming out on top at the end of this recession when the markets inevitably do recover, because they will recover. I'm going to talk about that later in this video. Just because I'm investing my money in the stock market and I personally believe that this is a huge opportunity, that does not mean that I think the coronavirus is a good thing. Of course, my empathy goes out to the people who have unfortunately passed away, and I'm hoping that everybody out there is keeping themselves safe, hopefully self-isolating as much as possible, social distancing, everything that comes with this unfortunate tragedy. This is officially announced as a pandemic, and I think every one of us as individuals should do what we can to keep not just ourselves safe, but other people who are more vulnerable to this disease. Those people specifically being the elderly, as people with weaker immune systems are at higher risk of unfortunately passing away from the coronavirus. Myself, I'm not really too worried because I am young, I am reasonably healthy. If I got the coronavirus, the chance of me passing away would be extremely low. But regardless, I don't want to pass this on to my mom, any of my family members, and especially not people who are close to me. So of course I'm going to be taking the necessary precautions to keep myself safe, and I hope that you are too. But anyway, let's talk about the stock market. It has come down heavily. We are entering a recession. The stock market is just, nobody knows what the fuck is going on at the moment. I have personally been waiting for this for a while now because, as I said, I wanted to buy companies at a very cheap price because I am a value investor and I am going to be investing for the long term. In terms of investing for the short term, I just want to mention this really quick. Investing for the short term, in my opinion, in the majority of cases, isn't really a good idea. I personally feel that if you are going to be an investor, you should be investing for the long term. In fact, when I read The Intelligent Investor, they said that there is no such thing as a short-term investor. If you are an investor, you are in it for the long term. If you're investing for the short term, I don't know what's going to happen with the stock market. I have no fucking clue. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. But I will tell you that within the next 10 years, the economy will recover. It always has. And a lot of people are saying, oh no, this time is different. This time the stock market is going to crash and it's going to go to zero. We're going to lose all our money. Well, here's the news for you. Back in 2008, back in 2000, back in 1987, when we saw those big, huge crashes in the stock market, guess what people were saying? People were saying, this time is different. Stocks are going to go to zero. And you're a fool if you're investing in the stock market right now. That's what they said when the stock market was crashing. And then what happened when the market recovered? They told themselves, man, I wish I got in at that time. Things were so cheap. I could have made a fucking killing if I decided to put my money in the stock market when stocks were being sold at 50, 75% discount. I'm not saying that companies are at that point. Right now, we're seeing maybe just over a 20% loss in the stock market. And honestly, I see it going even further than that. And I have already started investing some of my money into the stock market in different companies because I feel it is at a point where I am ready to put my money out. But what I'm trying to get at is, are you the type of person who wants to get into investing and told themselves, man, I wish I invested money in 2008. I wish I invested my money in the 2000s when the stock market crashed. I would have made so much money back then. Are you the type of person who is telling themselves that, but simultaneously extremely scared to put their money into anything right now? That's the problem. You need to be able to control your emotions and think financially. Realize that right now, there are huge opportunities out there to make a lot of money as long as you are going into the stock market, as long as you're putting your money into the right companies, as long as you are financially smart and you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money once the market inevitably recovers. When will it recover? Will it be next year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? I have no fucking clue. But as a long-term investor, I don't really mind how far out that is going to be because at the end of the day, I'm investing in companies. Those companies are going to be paying me dividends. I'm going to be creating some income in the meantime. And in the long run, I'm going to be making a lot of money. And I can personally see myself selling the companies that I've invested in the very, very distant future. If you're a short-term investor, of course, you're going to be very, very shook by the fact that the markets are coming down. But if you're in it for the long term, there is no reason to look at this crash any differently than you did in 2008 or in the 2000s. Now, of course, I was born in the year 2000, and in 2008, I was only 7 or 8 years old. So, of course, I wasn't investing at that time. I'm not Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett fucking purchased his first stock at the age of 11, which is just like, that is crazy. This is the first ever stock market crash that I have personally experienced and witnessed, and I don't want to miss this opportunity because right now I'm young, I'm 19 years old. I want to be able to set myself up for the future very, very nicely. Now, as I said earlier in this video, what I am about to say should not be taken as advice. Instead, it should be taken as what I would do if I was in your shoes. If you want true financial advice, then I would advise you consult with a financial expert. But I'm going to be telling you what I'm doing. I'm going to be telling you what I would do if I was a less experienced investor. Basically, the whole shebang. So let's get straight into it. I know that we're very, very far into this video and I've barely mentioned anything. First of all, I want to mention what I have done personally. As soon as I saw that the markets were collapsing, I had my eye on a few companies and I was ready to put my money in. The companies that I am currently invested in, and these are all of the investments that I have made in the time that this market has been crashing. Prior to the crash, I had no stocks. I sold everything because I believed that everything was overvalued, or at least all of the holdings that I had. So now that the market has crashed, we have seen stocks go on a huge discount. These are the companies that I have currently invested my money into. I have invested into Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola is just a wonderful company. They have been through recession after recession after recession. They pay a very, very nice dividend. They are just a wonderful company. I mean, seriously, ask yourself, can you see Coca-Cola not existing in 10 years' time? Absolutely not. I cannot imagine a world without Coca-Cola. That would be a very, very depressing world. They have proven time and time again that they are a fantastically stable company. And I have been waiting for so long to buy Coca-Cola shares at a huge discount. So I purchased Coca-Cola. The next company I invested in was Delta Airlines because Delta Airlines is a very, very good company. They are very strong. And because they are a flight company, with the spread of coronavirus, most people are not flying anymore. A lot of airports are actually just canceling flights entirely. And of course, Delta Airlines, a lot of people are scared for that company and they have started pulling their money out of the company. They're starting to sell their positions and they're crashing heavily. Like, more than any of the companies I've invested in so far. In fact, I've purchased Delta Airlines when they were at $35 and I purchased more shares when they were at $29. And currently, at this point in time, they're at $22. Ever since I put in my first dollar into the company, they have dropped another 30%. And you might be thinking, Brandon, aren't you concerned that you're going to lose all your money? Of course, that is there. I may very well lose all of my money, but I'm in it for the long term. And I truly do believe that Delta Airlines is a company that will be able to prosper, that will be able to make it out of this recession and go on to continue to be a fantastic company. Most people would see their investment lose 30% and go, oh my God, I need to sell before I lose all my money. But that's not how I see it. In fact, I've actually put in another buy order to buy 12 more shares of the company once they reach $20. So they just need to drop by another $2 and then I'm going to be purchasing another 12 shares of the company. A very, very attractive thing about Delta Airlines to me was not only are they a very, very strong US flight company, but they also are offering a fantastic dividend at this current point in time with the decline in their prices. Right now, as I speak, they're at $22.52. And with that comes a dividend yield of 7.15%. That is a huge dividend. So basically, any money I invest, I will be receiving 7% back every single year. That is a ridiculous dividend. And also back on Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola offer a very, very nice dividend that increases every single year. And at this current point in time, Coca-Cola are offering a 3.8% dividend, which is very, very nice. Personally, I look for companies that offer a minimum of a 3% dividend. And Coca-Cola offering a 3.8% dividend, with them being such a strong company and the fact that they increase their dividends every single year, that is just a fantastic buying opportunity. And I just had to jump in. You know what's funny? It has maybe been 2 minutes since I talked about Delta Airlines price. I believe I said that their price was $22.52. They've already dropped by another 50 cents. They're ridiculously close to $22. In fact, my shares will probably be bought in the time of me recording this video, which is just great. Right now, they're below $22. I mean, Jesus, everything is coming down hard. I'm going to stop talking about prices for stocks and everything like that. The final company that I have invested in, and I do have my eyes on other ones that I am thinking of picking up, specifically Apple. I really want to invest in Apple, but unfortunately, for the price that they're offered at, they're not offering the greatest of dividends, unfortunately. If we see Apple take a huge nosedive, I will absolutely be investing in Apple because I want to be a shareholder of Apple. I do believe in them long term, but unfortunately their dividend is not appealing enough to justify me purchasing into them. But as I said, the final company that I have invested in is McDonald's. McDonald's. A fantastic company. I'm not saying that their food is good for you by any means, but they are a financially sound company. They have been around for a very long time. They have went through multiple recessions at this point, and they have proven to be an extremely strong company. And at this current point in time, when I'm recording this video, they are offering a dividend yield of 3.75%, which is very nice. Those are the 3 companies that I have invested in. And so far, I have technically lost money. I mean, I haven't really lost anything. As long as I don't sell, I don't actually see any losses. But Coca-Cola has dropped by 9% ever since I invested in them. McDonald's has dropped by 9% ever since I invested in them. Delta Airlines has dropped by 30% ever since I invested in them. But that's fine, because what I am doing right now is I'm not trying to time the market. One of the biggest mistakes people do when investing in the stock market is they try to time the market. And I am telling you, that is a dangerous, dangerous game. Do not try to time the market, because it doesn't matter who you are. It is near impossible to time the market accurately 100% of the time. Actually, I would say that it is impossible. Nobody has ever done it. Timing the market is a very, very bad idea. What I recommend you do instead, if you are investing in individual companies, I am going to get into something you can do if you know absolutely nothing about investing. If you are investing in individual companies, I would try and find the value of the company. What do you believe each share of the company is worth? Set your buying price. Once the company reaches that buying price, buy a few shares of the company. If they drop even more, buy a few more shares. If they drop even more, buy a few more shares. Separate your purchases as the company comes down in price, because if you have, say, $2,000 ready to invest and you saw that the market's tanked by 10%, you might think, oh my God, this is a great time to buy in. And so you decide to put all of your money in, and then that company ends up going down by another 20%. Well, too bad. You already invested all of your money. You don't have any more to invest. That's why I recommend that you separate your investments based on how low a company will go, because I have spent a long time saving up the amount of money that I currently have to invest in the stock market. I've been waiting for this opportunity for quite a while, and I spent a lot of hours in work saving up all of this money so that I could put it into companies. I'm not going to miss this opportunity by just putting all my eggs in one basket and just hoping for the best. If you decide to do that, that's on you. But personally, I think that timing the market is a terrible idea, and instead, you should be buying pieces of the company as they fall in price, so as to get the closest you can to the very bottom, to ensure that you get the best deal for your money. If I had invested all of my money in Delta Airlines for the first purchase that I ever made into their company, they would have dropped another 30%, and I would have had no capital to actually put in to get an even better deal. Now, of course, all of what I'm saying could be completely wrong. Maybe, for all I know, I'm ignorant and these companies are going to go bankrupt. Maybe Coca-Cola is going to go bankrupt. Maybe Delta Airlines is going to go bankrupt. Maybe McDonald's is going to go bankrupt and I end up losing all of my money and I look like an idiot. That is absolutely a possibility. That is absolutely something that could happen. But I personally believe that these companies are extremely strong and that they will be able to make it out in the long term. In the short term, yes, they are going to stumble and they are going to struggle financially for the foreseeable future. But as I said, I'm not in this for the short term. I'm in this for the long term. I'm hoping that by the end of this recession, I come out on top with huge returns and really nice stakes in companies that are paying me dividends consistently. If you are going to be investing in individual companies, please, for the love of God, do your homework. Don't just jump into random individual stocks, because that is a death sentence. Read the company's financial reports, look at their balance sheet, look at their cash flow, look at their income statements. Do your homework, do your due diligence, because if you invest in a company and that company goes bankrupt, you just lost all of your money. And of course, that's not where we want to be. Look for extremely strong companies. Some companies that I can name off the top of my head are the ones that I invested in: Apple, Nike, etc. Look for those big, large cap companies that have proven time and time again that they have staying power. If you want to take huge risks and invest your money in startup companies during this time, I mean, that's on you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Anyway, that is what I'm doing in terms of investing in the stock market. But let's say you're completely new to the world of investing. Let's say that you're observing all of this happening and you're a little worried because you're not confident in your own ability to invest your money in the stock market and take advantage of the opportunities that may be around. What resources do you need to educate yourself, and what are some of the mindsets that you should have when investing? First of all, hands down, the greatest tool I can give you for improving your education and your financial future, hands down, is books. I personally listen to audiobooks because I don't really have the attention span to just read a physical book personally, so I listen to audiobooks. I prefer them. There are two books specifically that I highly highly recommend in this current point in time. The second book I'm going to mention is far more important than the first one, but the first one is still really good, and that is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It teaches you a lot of things about financial literacy, what to do during a crash, and how to invest your money, the mindset you should have. That's a really solid one, but easily the best book, if you have not read it already, hands down, is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. If you know absolutely nothing about investing, this is the book you should be reading. It is quite a long book, but luckily for you, you don't actually need to focus on every single chapter. There are 2 specific chapters that I would recommend that you read at this current point in time, but you should read the entire thing if you want to become an intelligent investor. It is the first book on investing I ever read in my entire life, and it has taken me so far. It has taught me so much. In fact, Warren Buffett is widely considered the greatest investor of all time. In his words, he said that this is the best book ever written on investing. The 2 chapters that I want you guys to focus on if you are serious about investing, well, if you're serious about investing, you'll read the entire thing, but the 2 chapters that are the most important in my opinion are chapter 8 and chapter 20. Read those chapters if you don't want to read anything else of the book, but I would highly recommend you get through the entire thing. Yes, it is quite long, but you are going to learn so much. It tells you about controlling your emotions during times like this, and that is ultimately the most important thing. When you see that a stock that you own drops by 30% in the same way that I did, you shouldn't be panicking. You should keep a level head and understand that if a stock goes down in price, really it's just a sale. It's just a discount. It's like when you go out to the supermarket and you see that a food item that you like is dropped by 50% in price, you don't start saying to yourself, oh my god, chicken nuggets are down 50%, what am I gonna do? No, you just take the opportunity. You're like, fuck yeah, chicken nuggets for 50% off, let me buy a shit ton of them. You should have that same mentality when it comes to investing. Yes, it's very easy to look at the news, and the news is just the worst thing you can pay attention to in times like this if you're an investor, because the news is gonna just go crazy. You're gonna look at the news and they're gonna be like, stocks are down 20%. Sell your stocks right now. You're gonna lose all your money. But wouldn't it be better if you were watching the news and they went, guys, Coca-Cola is going for 50% off. Buy right now. This is a huge opportunity. Wouldn't that be a lot better? Wouldn't that make you feel a lot better? But of course, don't pay attention to the news. They're just trying to scare you. But if you are a smart investor, if you are focused on the long term and you're just trying to build your financial future, this is a fantastic opportunity. But yeah, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, absolutely fantastic book. I highly recommend that you read those 2 chapters and get through the entire thing if you can. Now, one thing I'm going to mention is that it is very difficult to beat the market, as people say. I personally recommend that if you know nothing about investing, don't try to beat the market. Trying to beat the market is extremely difficult, but you would actually be surprised to hear that just making average market returns is very easy. It is extremely easy. In fact, I'm going to tell you how to do it, and I can almost guarantee that you will be fine in the long term. If you are going to do this in the short term, then yes, you might lose money, but everything that I'm about to mention, this strategy that I'm going to tell you, I can almost guarantee that this is going to work for you if you have a long time horizon. Don't invest money that you need next year. I am not investing all of my money in the stock market. I do have an emergency fund in case shit hits the fan and I need money right now. Don't invest all of your money. Obviously, have an emergency fund. After you've developed an emergency fund, then yes, it is time to start investing. Put your money in the stock market. Do what I'm about to tell you right now. If you are a long-term investor, there are a few things you need to do. Number 1, if you know nothing about the world of investing, if you don't want to go through the time and effort to look at individual companies, look at their financial reports, all of this, that, and the other, then I would not recommend investing in individual companies at all. If you don't want to go through that entire effort, what I would recommend is that you open up an account with Vanguard. Go to vanguard.com, open up an account with them. Then once you've opened up an account with vanguard.com, I would advise that you set a certain amount of money every single time period consistently that you are going to invest. Say, for example, if you said that you're going to invest €100 every single week. What you're going to do is you're going to take that €100 and every single week you're going to put it into an index fund. The index fund that I personally recommend is the S&P 500 index. It is the 500 biggest companies in America. The reason you want to invest in this index fund is because you are naturally diversified. Also, with index funds, their fees are extremely low. Every single year you're going to be paying like 0.03 3% in fees, which is extremely low. Now, here's the thing. You're going to take your money every single week, month, whatever. You're going to put it into the index fund consistently, regardless of what the markets do. If the market goes up, you're still going to invest that money. If the market goes down, you're still going to invest that money. If the market goes sideways, you're still going to invest that money. The reason for this is because of a concept called dollar cost averaging. It is something that I learned in The Intelligent Investor, and I would explain it further, but I think you need to look into it yourself. Do this every week, every 2 weeks, every month, but remember to stay consistent. Those are some things you can physically do when it comes to investing in the stock market. But now I'm going to talk about arguably the most important part when it comes to investing, and that is your emotions. When it comes to the world of investing, it can be very, very emotional. Let's say, for example, you invest €1,000 and all of a sudden a stock market crash comes and you lost 30% of your money. You didn't really lose it. It's just your holding drops by 30% in value. What do? Do you start to panic, or do you start to think to yourself, okay, I should probably start buying more because it's cheaper? One of the most important things when it comes to investing is controlling your emotions. Do not panic when the stock market goes down. Do not get optimistic when the stock market goes up. When prices are rising, that is the worst time to start buying. You do not want to be chasing stocks. That is the last thing you want to do. When the stock market is going down, you should be celebrating. When the stock market is going up, you should avoid it with like a 10-foot pole. Now, I get it. Of course, when the market goes up, that's great because you've made money. If you decide to sell, you can take some profits, and that's great. But when it comes to actually putting your money in the stock market, if things are going up, I would not recommend investing. Or if you do, invest at a much less aggressive rate. For example, when we were at the bull market, when we were at the peak of the stock market, I thought to myself, no way am I investing in any of these companies. They are far too expensive. I mean, I'm talking companies with a PE ratio of like 40. That is ridiculous. But it all comes back to the wise quote from the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett. He said, "Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy." And I was fearful when others were greedy, but I'm telling you, right now, a lot of people are fearful. Those are the main things I want to cover for people who have absolutely no idea how to invest. Set a certain amount that you're going to invest every few periods. Say it's every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever. Invest that amount into low cost, very well diversified index funds consistently, regardless if the market goes up, down, or sideways. And most importantly, control your emotions. If you invest money and the market goes down, do not panic, because throughout history, it shows that the economy always recovers. Just make sure that you have a long time horizon. If you don't need this money for the next 10 or 20 years, do not be scared, because by then, the market will easily have recovered by then. In fact, I'm going to be reading something called the Investment Owner's Contract from The Intelligent Investor. This is a page from the book, and it specifically focuses on investing in index funds. It specifically focuses on what I just talked about. I'm going to have the picture up on screen, and we're going to read it together, and you can sign this in your own head, or you can print it off yourself by just looking it up on Google, and you can sign it yourself and keep it in a safe place to remind you that things are going to be okay. So I'm going to run it up across the screen right now. Investment Owner's Contract. I, blank, blank, your name would go there, hereby state that I am an investor who is seeking to accumulate wealth for many years into the future. I know there will be many times where I will be tempted to invest in stocks or bonds because they have gone or are going up in price, and other times when I will be tempted to sell my investments because they have gone or are going down. I hereby declare my refusal to let a herd of strangers make my financial decisions for me. I further make a solemn commitment never to invest because the stock market has gone up, and never to sell because it has gone down. Instead, I will invest blank amount of dollars per month, every month, through an automatic investment plan or dollar cost averaging program into the following mutual funds or diversified portfolio. I will also invest additional amounts whenever I can afford to spare the cash and can afford to lose it in the short run. I hereby declare that I will hold each of these investments continually throughout at least the following date, which must be a minimum of 10 years after the date of this contract. The only exceptions allowed under the terms of this contract are a sudden, pressing needing for cash, like a healthcare emergency or a loss of my job, or a planned expenditure like a housing down payment or a tuition bill. I am, by signing below, stating my intention not only to abide by the terms of this contract, but to reread this document whenever I am tempted to sell any of my investments. This contract is valid only when signed by at least one witness and must be kept in a safe place that is easily accessible for future reference. And then you can sign, put the date, put down the witnesses. That is just like a work of art right there. That is a beautiful, beautiful page in the book that I loved. And that is what you should be following. If it helps, sign it yourself for real and follow through with what that says. That's all I had to say about this topic. I wish all of you good luck during this stock market crash. And please, for the love of God, do not sell when your stocks go down. Do not buy when they go back up. Please, if you are going to invest, make sure you do it in an intelligent manner. As I said, I wish all of you the best of luck. Go out there, make the most of the opportunities that you have at this current point in time. Do not let yourself be in a position where 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you're looking back on today and thinking to yourself, man, I should have invested when I had the opportunity. As I said, this is not financial advice. Make sure you consult a financial expert because I am not a financial expert. I wish all of you guys the best of luck. I hope you take your money and you intelligently invest it and come out in the long term being on top and hopefully doubling, tripling, quadrupling your money while also simultaneously creating income through dividends. And maybe one day you won't even need to work anymore. You could just make money off of that. Who knows? Ultimately, at the end of the day, just be smart. And I'm going to leave you guys with 3 last pieces of advice. 1, control your emotions. 2, control your emotions. And 3, control your emotions. Oh yeah, and the 4th one, make sure you follow all those 3 steps. Well, actually, there's one last thing. I'm going to link in the description a few different videos talking about investing in the stock market for beginners. I would highly recommend that if you want to do this, you take a look at those videos, watch them, and really absorb the information that they give you. Yeah, that's all I had to say. I'm going to wrap this video up now. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you smack the like button. If you want to stay up to date with my content, please be sure to subscribe. I'll have my last video in the corner. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely make sure to check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.